What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. White man loses damn near everything fighting against white supremacy. Damn near everything. All right? And I've heard this story that you're about to hear. I've heard this on more than one occasion from those who are truly allies, right? An ally, I would say a white ally would be someone who's woke enough to understand that most black people outside of their own particular circle of black people that know them personally, most black people are going to see them as the enemy. They move about as such. They don't get offended, by what the greater group of African Americans or group of Africans say, because they know overall it's true and they're not particularly talking about them, right? These are the white folk that have always been. These are the ones that have been fighting their parents. Anybody anybody displays any semblance of racism, they own it, right? Because it really, truly offends them. But they know that we can't tell the difference between none of them. Only their circle would know that, right? And those are the ones we usually give the title of light skin to. They not white. We'll just take did y'all know we can do that? Black folks, we can take your whiteness away permanently. Like, we can do that. We can, and then there's no card or nothing, because we're oral people. Orally we would have to pass along your past. This dude, this light skin. The last one you talking about? Yeah, that's the light skin one. He real light skin. I mean, once you get the light skin, you there. You like not just invited to the cookout. You already know what you got to bring to the cookout. That's that type of shit, right? You're not included. When we say white people can't come, we ain't talking about you. We talking about them kind, right? We know who they are. Right? They know we never talking about them, but we talking about the rest of the white folk. That just ain't them, right? Those kind of white folk, right? But, as we see those white folks fight the other white folks, what I'm saying, it comes with a sense of danger. With actual danger. Just like we got coons within our community who will sell out the black community and actively come online and talk shit about the black community for white validation, that equals white dollars, that equals money in their pocket, and they strategically didn't make that move, whether they believe what they're saying or not. We know they exist. They know that the black community is not the type of people, despite how they like to, they like to portray us. We're not the type of people who would seek revenge and harm them, because we're peaceful people, despite the things that they say. Because if we were the things that they say for them white dollars, they wouldn't be able to walk around any community where there's black people, because they would be prime target, because they would have been exposing something had it been true, right? They would have been seen as an enemy who needed to be taken out because you're exposing something that was true about a group of violent individuals who have no morals. So why would they not take it upon themselves to dispatch you maybe at one of your events, in front of all of your people, to send a message? Why wouldn't a group of dangerous, savage, barbarian, criminally minded individuals, why wouldn't they just make sure everybody can see it in the open, public execution type of stuff? Why wouldn't they do something like that? So that's why they always feel free to just do what they want with us, because they know we don't do stuff like that, right? But there's another group who will do stuff like that. They don't talk about that, right? But we know that other group will do stuff like that. So you got to think, who is the equivalent of the coon, which is the coon is the African American or the African going against the African race on behalf of whiteness for whatever its business or personal reasons, whatever. If you're going against us, you're the coon, right? So, and that's from greater culture. We know we got all these coons out here. We know about 99% of us, about 95% of us, and we all on the same code as them other ones, them loud other ones that's not. They all dispersed all kind of different ways, right? Right? White folks got their same situation, but it's in reverse. You see, the majority of their community are like that. It's the few that are not. So just like we got like 10%, maybe 5% of them other ones, right? We know the majority because we know how our culture is structured. White folks, it's the other way around. because their culture was manifested by individuality and scarcity of resources, right? So in a society that have a scarcity of resources and have an individualistic society that doesn't have a communal trust anything. So anytime you hear a white person talk about that trust thing where people inherently trust, that's bullshit. People with money who live in high-end neighborhoods trust each other because they're all rich. They don't got time to, they don't steal other people's shit because they got rich. If it's a white neighborhood, of course, 9 times out of 10, unless a person comes in from another neighborhood to rob because he cased the rich neighborhood, the rich people in the rich neighborhoods or the well-off or well-to-do neighborhoods are 9 times out of 10 are not going to be bothered arguing with people on the street. That's just not what they do. They are rich. They are well-to-do. They're too busy doing shit with their money. They're not sitting outside. Most of those neighborhoods are quiet because nobody really talks to each other because they're always working. The dynamics of the community makes it inherently safe. The people are not better. They just got more money and they're too busy to be hanging around creating mischief. All right? But that's just the case, right? And if that neighborhood happens to be white, it's white. They got black neighborhoods like that. Okay? I live in one of them. Okay? I go out at night. No problem, Bob. All right? Right now, used to not live in one of them, but I made my way to get into one of them. So I'm telling you from experience, no gates. It's just what it is, okay? So white folks, because they have that individualistic mentality and they are, aggressive and they have a culture of dividing themselves up, labeling themselves, and fighting each other, they're currently doing that now. And so the majority of those people who are more on the cultural consistent be ourselves, rape, murder, pillage, Viking mentality, right? You got the other ones who are on the science, technology, future mentality, liberal mentality, right? They're fighting right now, online, in the streets, and they all get violent. And they physically touch each other. And they get deep and they go the extra mile to attack each other, get each other fired, and they go all out when they have an op. They dress up, right? They get in costume to go battle their foes, right? This is when they get to battle, whether it's for any position, they are in it, okay? And that small little group, right? That small little group of Europeans, no, they fighting their entire culture. They're fighting their entire culture. And there's only a few of them. For the sake of the planet. Keep in mind, they know that they're a minority. They know they're fighting a minority, right? They're fighting a minority with the majority of their group on behalf of the majority, which is the majority of the planet, right? They know that. Just like as a Pan-African, I have to fight my own people, which are the xenophobic tribalists, right? So that the people that we do ally with know that they have allies despite this, and I have to represent as a Pan-African as the majority, right? So that they can be secure to know that when they need to deal with African Americans, they have a majority of people that think more like me than like them. It's who can be the loudest, because they always notice ignorance, evil is always the loudest in the room, because they don't have any morality to sit there and be quiet, only to wait their turn. That's why they're so chaotic and raw. That's why they get out there in this environment, social media. That's why they excel. So anybody else that got any common sense, they got any progressive mindset of thinking, anything like that, they don't usually get that spotlight because they're not as entertaining to the masses. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be loud and consistent to make up for it. That's why I continue to repeat certain people's names who are the opposition. Not a clout chase, but I have to use the tools available to me to get the word out, because I don't have those other things to get it easily done, if you understand what I mean, right? But these white folks, they got to go through it. They have to, to not be racist is almost to go against your entire culture and everything that's built, everything that your identity is predicated on. It's to acknowledge the truth, to be truthful about history is to go against your culture's foreign policy and future policies. Basic truth telling. Like, that's got to be dangerous. And, you know, some people have lost their lives. They paid the ultimate price for going against their own people. Because, you know, white folks are dangerous when you turn them into an enemy. We know, don't we? And we ain't even turn them to an enemy. They dangerous. They just took our shit. We ain't do nothing to them. We gave them a plate. We invited them to the fucking first cookout. And ever since then, them niggas ain't left. Yeah, they still fucking taking plates and shit. You know, we trying to get the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? That's what we trying to do right now. So, but since that's happening, and this is all a result of that happening, everything that you see around the world, all this chaos has to do because black people are standing up. This is what happens when the dust falls off the back of the black man as he stands up off the ground. All right, think about that shit. That's what the fuck's happening right now. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
So today, someone informed me that my current job found my TikTok. And some of my fellow employees do not appreciate what I have to say. So in the spirit of that, I'm going to do a quick story time. And I'm going to try to keep this quick, something I'm not generally good at. At my previous job, I put in a 6 weeks notice so they could get somebody into my position. And I was trying to help them out. Well, about 1 week into that 6 weeks notice, there was a team meeting of which I was in the same office as where it was going on, but I wasn't involved in that meeting. But I heard somebody say some racist shit. And I heard it as I was on my way out to go to another appointment. So I ended up turning back around and came back and addressed the entire team meeting regarding the shit that I heard. 1 week later, my job magically told me that I was going to be fired or I needed to quit on the day that they had a meeting for me. Now, keep in mind, I've never been written up or in trouble or any of that type of shit at this previous job, ever. So I decided to say fuck it and quit. Because of the unethical bullshit that they pulled on me, I went for 2 months with zero income and no health insurance for me and my 2 children. When it comes to speaking on issues of racism and social justice issues, I don't give a fuck who likes my approach, who agrees with it, disagrees with it, whatever. The switch flipped for me in 2020 and I haven't fucking stopped since then. I lost a 10-year marriage to standing up and speaking up the way that I do for the things that I believe in. I've had to run from the cops. I've had to run from the National Guard. I've had loaded guns from white supremacists pointed at me. I've almost got into a fight with an entire SUV full of people that were driving by and screaming white power. I've been in marches and protests around my state. In different states, I've set up different protests and different events. And I don't need kudos for any of that shit. So when it comes to issues of racism and social justice issues that affect my black and brown children, my black partner, and my community, I will speak the way that I want to fucking speak. Just know I stand 10 toes down for the shit that I believe in on here and in real life. And I'm not about to change up my approach to protect the fragility of some soft-ass white people that don't like the things that I have to say. Racism is a life or death issue. If I make you feel fucking uncomfortable, good.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.